say 6, or are we 1 minute short?
1 minute short.
My phone says 6.
I know clock was a little slow. I saw coming in. Yeah. You gotta go buy a wall clock. Yeah, they're all on. Okay, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight's special meeting is to receive bids for the 2020-2023 Town of Spafford Transfer Station contract. Lisa, how many bids do we have sealed?
We have 3, sir.
We can go ahead and open the contents, check for the bonds and the bid form, and read them off one at a time.
This one is Ciati Enterprises Incorporated. Ciati Enterprises.
Okay. Form notarized.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right there. 90,437.50 cents. In parentheses, he has 32,812.50 cents. 90,000 for the 3 year, 32 annually. 98. Excuse me, 98 is that one. 437. Yeah. 98437. Yes. 32812.
50.
150.
And then didn't they have a pull
Full per pull is 150.
for both items? Isn't there 2?
Yes.
Okay. Any other attachments or anything else included?
See nothing else, everything will be done.
Okay.
This one is Casella with Systems. $246,468 for the 3 year contract. 82,156 annually. 330 per call. And that is for both.
330, you said?
330 per call. Bid bond letter. We included an alternate bid. Maintenance not included on the alternate bid. It is $209,377 for the 3 year. $69,795 annually. It says alternate bid in red ink at the top, and at the bottom it says in red ink, maintenance not
Yeah,
included.
we didn't request anything like that, so that's as far as I'm concerned, it's not.
I had an hourly
Nope, we're good.
We're just opening and meeting bids.
Okay. Yep. That's it?
Very good, good numbers.
Okay. Jim, we'll take some time to go through and make sure everything's complete, and then
Yep.
go from there?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the RFP?
The contract?
Request for bid.
Yeah, I don't know if we have one right there.
It's, yeah.
It's all one-
yeah.
one-
It's all one
Yeah,
piece.
it's all one
Let me
piece.
check this one first.
All right.
Search is all.
Yeah, so that concludes our bid opening. There was one other item I wanted to just chat about. I was expecting Chris to be here tonight. Got a phone call and a few emails at the beginning of last week about the High Hickory Preserve. Are you familiar where that is?
No.
No.
Down off of Richard Road, heading towards Lord's Camp. There's a preserve that most people in the town don't know about. It's about 100 acres, about 90 to 98 acres.
Owned by the Central New York Land Trust?
Central New York Land Trust.
I had a call from them today.
Yeah. Sure you did.
Yes.
So did I.
Ah,
Really?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay. So they have had a very, very poorly visible access to that preserve for years. It was acquired through a gift sometime in the late 80s, I think it was 1989-ish, from a family. And they're looking to essentially, they've created a new or expanded the existing curb cut, and then they're looking to put in a driveway, a small pavilion, a couple, what they're calling, I don't want to say retention pond, but we'll say wetland mitigation features, and then basically an educational pavilion with handicap access. Whether or not there's going to be actually marked trails in the future, not sure. I have a document in front of me that I can pass around that kind of shows what they're looking to do. Central New York Land Trust, I think, reached out to Howard probably about 4 years ago initially, and maybe had a conversation early on. He kind of remembered a little bit. There's a new director now that's originally from Trumansburg. He took over about 2 years ago. I actually went into town today, sat down and introduced myself and had a little meeting with him, and just said, hey, why don't you give me the overview of what you're looking to do, just so I know, because I'm getting phone calls and I haven't heard anything about it. I called my code official, he hadn't heard anything about it, so, why don't you...
is this an education center we're talking about?
It's a kiosk, so I'm not sure how much educational component, but yeah.
I got a call from the attorney of the person that is looking to sell the land to them,
They
or do they already have it?
they already have land. They are looking to acquire additional land for all of their the 3,000 acres they do manage. So they own a number of preserves in the Central New York area. I'm going to do this because I can't stand talking too loud. For this one specifically, I don't know if that's in the cards currently. This is just a self-contained piece of land that they've had since the late 80s.
Sounds like two different things.
It does. It does sound like different things. They are looking to acquire other land outside of town, but in Central New York. So maybe I don't know if that's a Thomas Spafford thing or something different. I know they're looking to acquire some land over in Camillus in a couple different locations. So okay. So this is what it is. I just wanted to kind of bring that up to the board, just so everyone is aware of what's going on. I did chat with Chris, and I think there was some confusion on what was going on and what was supposed to go, what was proposed to go in there. So I wanted to kind of this is what they're looking to do. It is an existing land trust. Whether or not they look to do things or expand on things in the future, I don't know. I just encourage the current director to, be out ahead of it, to interact with us and discuss, future plans, and just to keep us apprised so that we can, respond, with facts, rather than saying, "Well, I've never heard of it," or "Nope, I have no idea what's going on."
So we talked to a guy named Albert. His name was?
Yeah.
said it was gonna look like the one that's on the preserve down on Covey Road.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't really show us anything there, but.
This is something different than what we're doing.
Okay. I know there were some residents that were concerned about increased traffic on that road. Access was, proper permit issued by the county. Turns out that they're, working off an existing curb cut that was already there. So he says, I'm not going to go and investigate it completely, but it is a preserve. This is what they're looking to do, and they're putting in a pretty decent driveway up into the hillside, kind of up on almost where it kind of flattens out. There's a pond, existing pond up there. So that's it. That's what's going on. We'll stay apprised of any additional developments. They're hoping to have the work done. They're actually hoping to have it done already. So they're shooting to have it done. Let's just say this summer. So they'll be able to be used. Any questions?
This is something I assume is permitted under the zoning ordinance, or do they need a special permit or anything?
Kind of like an agricultural.
Right.
Don't need a permit.
Yeah.
So out of courtesy would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I asked for.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're doing, again, this is pretty low intensive. If it was, a very large structure or something like that, I think we'd look at that and have a lot more questions. But this is pretty basic. So, okay, perfect. Does anyone else? So bid bond, I believe, is it? I'm assuming so. They do them whatever it's. If the bid bond is for 5% of the total bid, there should be a bid bond. Which one is that? Well, at this point, is there anything else to discuss officially? We can review the bids, first and second. I'd like to look at it and make sure they're all complete and squared away. I mean, obviously the lowest bidder is Ciotti by a lot.
Do we know anything about Seattle? I've never heard of it.
I have heard of them. I don't know how many towns they haul for or if they do that, but I've heard of them. Roughly, what these, off the top of your head, will be paid to Casella? I have to go back and look at that contract. Yeah, would you? Off the cuff, the other two haulers and the other one, I'm guessing, if I remember correctly, 3 times
Yeah, Casella.
Yeah.
what we paid previously. I'm sorry,
Oh.
for the under the previous contract, I think the 2 high ones are at least 3 times what our current contract rate was. I mean, I could tell you that the current pull rate, I think, is 185 or 180 per pull. Is it 180? It might be 195 up to 500. I mean, right?
And that's,
Yeah, 17 through 20. Thought it was 185. It was a rental.
those are the full, yeah.
No, the monthly rental,
Oh,
and then
okay.
there's a there's a per pull.
Oh, I'm sorry,
There-
195,
Okay.
195 for this Packer, 185.
Okay, I knew there was 185 in there somewhere.
That's the overflow.
Yeah,
So for like the Syracuse haulers, you're saying it'd be 500
per pull,
per pull per
per
day,
right.
basically.
So that'd be the packer, the recyclable and the garbage, plus any of the overflows when they're full to pull.
Metal.
Right, anything.
500 per?
per
Each container.
each
Okay.
container.
Yeah.
And they get pulled every week?
Currently,
They're at least pulling 3 per week, right?
going forward.
Okay, there you go.
So they pull packer.
2,000.
4 a week.
Sexual container works that.
Sounds good. Plus tipping fees,
Currently,
Right.
plus the cost of the
Right.
contract.
large
Which is,
items, there's usually an open pack container there because
I don't know.
it's not working, so that's, so you get 4 or 5 that are going every week.
Yeah. Do we have any idea whether the $30 per permit is covering the cost for this thing?
so I did this exercise before, when I wanted to go to 40, and you guys beat me back down to 30.
What does it mean?
Oh.
I wouldn't hear that.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
the two of us were here.
these two beat me back down to 30. Yeah, I think I argued that 50 per year would be dirt cheap.
I was gonna say,
I-
50 per year is so cheap.
When I lived in Ithaca, I paid $4 per bag,
Yeah.
and that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So so you look at the total number of residents, and we know, we don't have 100% compliance, but pretty much everyone that uses it is buying the stickers. So I think when we looked at it, the revenue in was 30 was covering it. We were in good shape on that, but that was based on the old contract. Based on these numbers, the 30 does not cover
Never
it.
gonna cover it.
Not even gonna come close to
So, and I think the way initially the transfer station was viewed, pre-transfer station was, when it was more of just the leave it, was it was trying to be a revenue neutral in the sense that there wasn't a lot of cost to it, and so that the price point was minimal,
Right.
for the privilege. Whereas now that that's shifted over the last 30 or 40 years, it's slightly different. So the 30, we were good. We were in a decent place on. Obviously, I think we're going to have to revisit that come next budget cycle for sure.
I don't see the certificate of insurance.
Perfect.
I do see, I did do the mail, the check is
5%. Okay.
But I don't see a certificate of insurance. I find it hard to believe that Cincinnati Enterprises is not insured, but it doesn't have it.
So if it doesn't have it, then we have to. It's not a complete bid under the. So we got to check all of them, make sure they all are there.
Well,
And we don't have to accept any of these bids. We could
they,
reject them all.
What are we going to do on Monday?
Yeah. What happens?
I'm going to board
Marcella has
I'm gonna
her
board up a
insurance.
house.
Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, that's right, Wednesday.
Well,
Glad
we can go ahead.
glad I went there today on my way
We
down.
can go ahead and have a motion to close, can't
So you're
we?
Well,
Yeah.
But what are you going to do on Monday?
if we're going to accept the bid tonight, don't we still have to have the meeting be open?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's find out which ones are complete and so forth.
Well, we've done before in the past that we can review it, and didn't we do a resolution to accept the low bid, subject to approval and all documents? So we've done that before in the past, where
Right.
then I can review everything,
But I think
Jim can look
we
at
got to
it.
have the meeting stay open until we do
Well,
that.
we need, if we're gonna make that motion, yes, the meeting needs to stay open, and we need to do that.
Again, it seems to me that we only have 3 bids. And
And went out
One
to
of
20.
them-
I know I spoke to at least 3 different people that didn't submit bids. Sure. I spoke to haulers a lot. Ciotti, I got a call from Ciotti. And what was the other? Okay.
You care and we didn't review a big number like that, we never.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. And I said you could.
yeah, as far as I know, this is.
We don't have to approve it, but I did respond to your email saying, yeah, go ahead and advertise.
The only email I got from you was, who is it? That was all I got.
There was 2 back to back.
I didn't get the second
Who
one.
likes the insurance?
Which one was that one?
All right, so we got to look at it.
Syracuse Falls.
So on our form, in terms of the requested, on our specifications,
Yes, it requires.
I just read this
insurance,
today.
Contractor shall procure and keep in force $100,000 for each person, $300 for each accident, and property damage coverage. Contractor shall furnish the town board of Stafford with certified copies of the original policies at the time the contractor submits his bid.
Okay, so that's clear. That's a no-brainer. So it needs to be there for all of them.
This is just a certificate of insurance, and it is not a certified copy. So the only one that came close to complying was Casella Waste, but they did not provide a certified copy of the policy. So none of them complied. None of them complied.
Okay, so we can't accept any,
But I mean,
any of them.
certified copies of the policy is pretty onerous for a bidder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think,
Typically, the certificate of insurance is something that is normally accepted for bids.
right, but we're not requiring a certificate, we're requiring a certified copy. And by the way, our coverage, maybe I should have seen this before, but our required coverage is kind of low. It's only $100,000, $300,000. And if you're running a transfer station, someone could get seriously injured by the equipment. So we really should up that. Next go around, I would up that. My guess is you're not even going to have to up it, because my guess is that each one of these carriers is probably insured to $1 million anyways. But if we think of it the next go around 3 years from now, or any of us are still here, we have to up that insurance requirement.
Well, the way I look at it is we have a couple options. We can reject all the bids as received. We can rebid it. I can call Mark tomorrow and say, we'd like to extend your current contract for the month of August at the rates that you,
Green month of July.
month of July that you're currently operating under. You know, if you're agreeable with that, all your equipment's still up there. He's technically supposed to have it all out of there tomorrow. I can frankly call him right after this meeting, because he answered this phone on Sunday when I called him, so I think he'll answer it again and say, look, this is what we're asking. Would you consider that? If it's yes, we consider that, then I think we probably just reject the bids and rebid it and have the bid opening in 2 weeks, and circle back around to everybody else.
I would send a letter to each one of these bidders and say that your bid was rejected because it did not contain a certified copy of your liability insurance policy.
Or bid bond in one case too, right?
No, they provided the check.
So they did that in lieu of the bond. They provided a check for the
5%.
5%. Okay, so that's.
So that's adequate, but none of them provided a certified copy of the policy. And to be honest with you, we probably should amend that requirement and just say a certificate of insurance.
Right.
As long as
I agree.
basically to give people a second chance. That makes sense to
So if
me.
you want, you can make a motion to amend your RFP to modify it to say that a certificate of insurance, the issuance of a certificate of insurance proving this coverage is sufficient. You could do that by resolution, then we could just change this last sentence here, and then ask them to resubmit the bid. The problem is, they now know what everybody else is bidding. Another thing you could do is simply accept the lowest bid with the,
As long as they provided the certificate of insurance,
proper insurance.
even the way it's written in the proposal, the way the bid specs read.
Well, at that point, I would tell them to provide a certified copy of the policy, since that's what they require.
If you're comfortable legally with that,
I'm not.
okay.
I can't tell you as I stand here that
I'm not comfortable with it.
A bid packet that's inadequate can be accepted.
Can be accepted.
And cured after the fact. I think we should rebid it.
So we don't really have a choice, especially if
Right.
none of the three of them comply with what we have written.
Right.
Specifically.
None of the three provided a certified copy.
What happens though if Casella says no?
And we'll plan B.
And do we have a plan?
Yeah, what's plan B?
Got to make one up.
Ted,
Jody's actually he's in charge of the transfer station, so.
Tom Medley's not taking his over.
Are you going to make that come up front?
Can we just we take a 5-minute recess? 5-minute, 10-minute recess right now?
Yeah, and,
I'm gonna find out right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the guy I need to call to see if they would consider.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, 5 minutes.
I'm gonna do that.
Sounds like information we need to have. Yes.
need to issue, and, right, so I'll make that motion. How are you on getting that down, Lisa? Good. I need a second?
I'll second it, but I have a question about it. Can we amend the RFP to require a certificate of insurance instead of a certified copy of the policy?
Yeah, now, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Does that take a separate?
Can we
separate
do-
motion?
I think they're two
Can we-
separate.
let's, two separate things. Let's go ahead and reject this. So you second it, all in favor?
Aye.
I agree that we should make some revisions to our current form that went out. And I would suggest that we,
The RFP language
it was two things.
read as follows.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going somewhere else, but go ahead.
At page 3 of 7, bottom paragraph, be modified to read, the contractor shall furnish the town board of Spafford with a certificate of liability insurance.
Let's adjust the amounts, since we have the ability to do that now, so let's raise the amounts for coverage.
Indicating that the required amount of coverage has been afforded to the contractor.
So in insurance, bless you. So is,
You want to raise the limits?
I would like to, and how does it read for, is it, I guess I can look at it right here. So by one, and for each person, 3 for each accident. So, I mean, you're the insurance guy. I know what I would recommend, but you tell me. I know what I have to submit for myself.
Minimum $500,000.
Okay, yep.
For each person, and $1 million
Umbrella.
$1 million total for each accident. And then property damage for each accident in the sum, that, the property damage seems fine, 50,000.
You okay with that? Okay.
100,000.
All right.
So just the bodily injury, I would change from 100,000 for each person to 500,000 for each person, and from 300,000 for each accident to 1 million.
Okay. That,
Make that motion?
I made that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Coming back around, so one of the things that I think we should add to this is, to our next issuance of the RFP, the request for bid, is as an addendum or as an appendix, is the information on what was pulled out, the report from last year. So let's put that right in there, so make sure everyone gets that, and that gives the total tonnage of all the different.
Is this one that we're releasing now, or 3 years from now?
No, you sent out a report. The report that we sent that was requested, but that we sent as part of the addendum, I want to include that in this package this time, so that everyone gets that information. So at least they can look at a 1-year history and say, okay, based on last year, this was kind of the amount of material that was hauled. That roughly breaks down into this many pulls, because they need to come up with how often are they going to be doing that. They have to kind of figure out where their number is going to fall, how many runs they're going to be making, where they're coming from, where they're going. That's their business, but that creates their number, So that would be good. And then the other thing I was considering, or I'm just going to toss it out there, that may be worth. So not every company owns their own equipment or compactors. Like they may all choose to rent the equipment and put it up there. So I would suggest that we add a couple line items for unit costs for rentals or et cetera, so that we can compare, so we can see how their bid is arrived at, right?
So you're saying they're already including that rental in that,
So in
the
that number we
bigger
got this
number.
time, it was
Yeah.
in there, it was buried in there somewhere that they had to come up with, whether it was a piece of equipment that they owned, a compound, and they were putting up there, and they were figuring, okay, we need to maintain it either 0 times per year, or 1 time per year, or whatever. There was some logic of how they arrived at that number, and also figuring that there's gonna be 2 compactors up there all the time that need to be working. I'm wondering if it doesn't make sense to provide that as a line item, that they need to show us what that is, so we have some way of. I'm trying to think about how to still compare the bids rather than having one that's 200,000, one that's 90,000, and how do we make decisions? Do you just always take the lowest bidder, or can you differentiate between a low bidder that has numbers that maybe something was left out versus someone else that did include it? The more information we have to make those decisions, I think it's a little bit easier to kind of figure it out. And I'm just kind of tossing it out there because it also gives us the ability to say, well, maybe two is not enough. Maybe we need 3. If that was the case, we would have a unit cost to add one or something in the future of that 3-year contract. Is
That part makes some sense. I don't know that I really care whether the provider owns the equipment or rents the equipment.
I don't care either.
As long as the
But I
equipment's
want to
there.
know what percentage of the bid that represents from a unit cost standpoint. I'm asking for it to be broken down a little bit more. And I'm okay either way. I just think it could provide some information for us to evaluate the bids rather than seeing number A, bidder A, number, bidder B, number, bidder C, number, and other than saying this one's lower, and the pull fee is X. What's really the difference between company A, company B, and company C? I don't know.
The CIADI bid includes having all the equipment there. It's what was in the RFP, right? So whether they're renting it or
We don't know. Yes, right? But did they do a good job and put their numbers together? Well, I hope so. It was a low number, or did they miss something? We don't know. And that's kind of the whole bidding notion is sometimes you miss things and you just got to kind of suck it up and deal with it. Sometimes you inherit a contract that you can't do the work for and you get poor service. We know all about that.
Exactly what
Yeah.
we
So, how do we try and make sure we get, good value, competent, hauler, and you get the service that I think we're looking for as a board, at a reasonable price.
One thing that came to light during the walkthrough was there's no specification of what the electric service is up there. There's only single phase 240. It's not 3-phase 240. 80% of your compactors out there are 3-phase.
Yeah.
So they got to go out and purchase or rent a
Specific.
single phase power unit to run their compactors. So I wondered maybe putting that in there so that they all know what
Right.
it is.
Like the current electric.
Right, the current service is
Services
single
X.
phase.
What would it take to make it 3-phase?
That's something I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Before.
The way, well, it's we can go out. So basically, if you see, you can count wires,
Exactly.
and that's how you tell if there's 3-phase available or single phase. The majority of this town is probably.
Three-phase does run to Fesco, so it runs.
Does it run to Fesco's? Okay, but does it come up East Lake or is it?
It comes this way.
So,
It comes from Minneapolis area.
so they would have to pull it down the road and put a new service in. Is what the answer would
So
be.
you're talking from 41
Yeah.
to the same road, they got a whole extra wire and another transformer.
Yep.
And then obviously, inside, we'd have to change it.
Yeah.
Inside too.
Yeah.
But 3-phase is cheaper to run, as we all know.
Oh yeah.
So,
Some of us know. I didn't know.
I did.
I don't know anything about that stuff.
Would it be beneficial to ask them just to, I don't know, like in that bid, just to maybe break it down? I don't know how to because I think I would like to see that as well, like how much are you anticipating and how much of this bid are you is your anticipated maintenance costs? How much of this bid is your rentals? How much of this bid is, I don't know how to do it more than just that one metric.
Well, you could do it.
If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. So you could ask for we could put 3 lines. We could have total bid. We could have year 1 bid, year 2 bid, year 3 bid. So there's a total amount. We could have the 3, and then under there, we could ask for unit costs for year 1 maintenance. They would have to provide a number. It still has to all add up to
Right.
at the end. So we could ask for maintenance costs per year. We could ask for equipment costs per year. And if we did just equipment cost, we wouldn't care whether they were renting or whether they owned it. But then we would have an equipment cost to compare across all 3, 5 or 10 bidders.
Yeah.
just the more things that you require in terms of them to account for, whether it's maintenance, whether it's a quarterly, like, equipment check or whatever, to come up with a number, we could be raising the cost of, of the service that we're asking for. So I think it's good that you define it in one aspect, because then you have something to hold the bidder accountable for, and it's very clear.
Yeah.
I think if it's, if it's weird things that, can be counterproductive. But I think, asking for, of the bid, the cost for the maintenance that might be interesting to see.
I think it could be helpful just seeing as the maintenance issues that we've run into in the past and them not showing up to fix the equipment, and, just kind of saying, when you bid, you said, part of your bid was that you were gonna be here doing the maintenance costs.
Right, and I know surface haulers lives here, they do at least once a year.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one time when we're already yes.
46 minutes, but it's okay, we're still going. We're chatting.
I would like to see that in there, in case it pulls down,
My hearing aid just.
Yeah, to account a little bit.
Yeah, we could require, like, I don't know what maintenance is, obviously
I don't
they're
know.
always down. So you could require that you had bi-yearly maintenance or something, or, once per year or as required. It's just a question of, if the equipment's down and not working, it needs to be dealt
Yeah.
with. And that's
Got
different
it.
than, in my mind, that's different than
Then-
maintenance.
Well,
Yeah,
what
but
they,
he would
what
have-
they explained to me is they come in once a year, check all the cylinders,
Yeah.
clean out behind the push plate, which blows the backside of them off, as we've currently seen. They take all the trash out of there at least once a year, and not twice.
Right.
So,
But I'm sure-
there was, it go through
Yeah.
the pump and the motor and all that.
I'm sure though that they just put in there, they anticipate there to be some
Right.
sort of issues along the way besides that one period of time.
And I'm sure.
I
and I'm
just get
sure-
nervous if, I just don't, when we see these three bids, obviously we're not picking any of them, but it is a little alarming, like, one's so low, two are way higher. Like, I just wanna know kind of like,
So just to recap, Chris, we opened the bids. Each bid was not complete, was lacking either one or more items that was requested. We've formally rejected the bids, and we're just discussing about the rebidding, the process for rebid, and then any tweaks we want to make to the request for proposal that we put out here shortly. I also reached out to Kinsella to see if they would consider operating for the month of July. It's not Mark. Keep thinking his name is Mark. Gentleman I spoke to is going to call me back tomorrow morning and discuss how that could work. So we have, while it's not slam dunk that we're going to do that, we'll have some options, and I'll be able to get back with the board sometime tomorrow on what that would look like for the month of July, so we can still get our waste to the various facilities that it needs to get to, hopefully in a somewhat orderly fashion. So that's the recap. What I forgot. Oop. You got another one?
Am I early?
We start at 6.
Yeah, I missed that.
How you doing? Well, come on in. We're not done.
So, did we not get the proper information to them, or how I,
Yeah, none of
No.
the bids
Good.
included a certified copy of their insurance policy.
oh crap.
So we by resolution modified the requirement to require only a certificate of insurance.
Yep.
But 2 out of the 3 bids didn't even have the certificate of insurance, so.
You
We
see one of-
rejected all 3 of them because none of them complied with the written requirements. We modified the requirements. We also increased the amount of liability coverage that they are required to maintain from 100, 300 to 500, 1 million.
Well,
You want to just recap the bids that we did receive, the numbers, and who bid that, just so we're all up on the same page.
We received 3 bids. The first one opened was from Ciotti. Their bid for the full three-year contract was $98,437, with an annual of $32,812, and $150 per haul. The second bid was Casella Waste Management. Their 3-year bid was $246,468, with $330 per haul. That's $82,000 annual. The third bid was Syracuse Haulers, 3-year contract, $239,900 and $500 per pole.
Holy crap. So that's like per container. And you're saying a haul
Yep,
No.
So
plus weight,
yep.
plus the weight of it. They weigh it and then they charge us by the,
the tipping fees, right? So we always reimburse for our tipping fees because that's as you go, as it gets pulled in, that's predictably unpredictable. So those get reimbursed to the contractor, whoever the contract winner is, and then there's the gross fees for having the compactors up there, you know, and whatever else that goes into having stuff up there. The last, our 2017 accepted bid was based on a rental fee per month for various items. So it was $150 a month for X, $100 a month for Y,
okay.
and that was rolled up into that and extended, obviously, per month. Plus the haul fees, which were between 100, it was either 185 or 195. So the one bid was in the 150 per pull, and then the other ones were both 300 and then 500.
Well, it was 150 per unit per pole.
Per pull. That's what we're saying.
Per unit, but there's 2 units.
Right.
Right.
So it would have been $300. The other ones were
500 each. Same. Yeah.
each.
Yeah. Same thing. Same thing. Yeah. So. Yeah. I was good with the 150. I was happy with that. Take 150 all day. In any event, so
All right, how do we stand if the burn or the steam plant in Syracuse mandates that we take our stuff there, correct?
Yes.
All right, so
Okra, yes.
they're not paying for any of this hauling or anything going in there?
Okra does not pay, they receive money.
yeah, that's not the.
That is the tipping fee.
That's right.
So when they haul this to the Covanta plant, it gets weighed and the hauler pays a tipping fee, which we reimburse them for that tipping fee. That's
Plus-
over and above on top of.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Who says they get money here?
How much would our own incinerator cost?
Huh?
I mean, can we burn our own garbage?
No, you cannot.
You
Garbage is burned at the
want to start handing out 55-gallon drums to residents?
Bring your own lighter.
Burn barrel.
Yeah. This is-
So we're going to rebid. We have to. And we're just talking about just the pros and cons of asking for some more information as part of the bid form. So instead of getting just 100,000 and 500 per pull, does it make sense to ask the bidder to break down their numbers a little bit more by providing an equipment cost or a whatever else we said, or a maintenance cost as part of their total number, so we get to kind of see the total number is still the total number, but we get to kind of look at it and compare across the bids we receive next time. How did people approach it? And if anything, you know, it may not matter, but it also may show, let's say the low bidder has, you know, maybe they had a low cost for maintenance or a low cost for the equipment rental. That could help explain why their bid was lower than company A was lower than company B. It just gives a little bit more, I don't want to say, I mean, maybe comfort. I mean, it is what it is. I think it would have to be, generally, we take the low bids on things, you know, as long as they're complete and, you know, and the provider is competent and they meet all the requirements. I would have a hard time going with someone else that was significantly more, you know, without having some reason or some cause for saying, look, there was a mistake, there was an error, this was left out. That's how sometimes when you ask for more information, it helps the receiver of the bids understand and make a better analysis of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So,
I really think it'd be a good idea to send a year-end report of what was
Yeah, definitely
That
yeah.
that was asked many times, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Lisa, how's the fees for the dump permits, is it as compared to like when Charles was there and taking, policing it?
When I started in this job 20-some years ago, our fee was $10 a year. It is now $30 a year.
I think Chris's question also was,
How does it
how,
offset against
The
our
collection,
cost? It
huh?
does not match
Yeah.
the cost at all.
no, but in terms of people
Oh, how many people?
doing the permits,
Are held out there?
not held out, but are people re-upping, renewing them? Pretty, for the most, yeah, that's what I thought.
For the most part, there's a few
What do we have, about 900, 1,000, something like that?
Yeah, about between 8 and 9.
So call it 1,000. Call it 1,000 at $30 a piece. Quick math, anyone?
30,000.
30,000 per year, which, you have to account for the time for the attendant, the cost of that. You have to account for whatever the contract fee is, per year, the tipping fees, et cetera. So yeah, looks like we're losing money on the transfer station. We did a quick analysis before.
There's also a line item in tax.
Right, there is, there is a line item too, when you take that and the fees, I think we were pretty close to where we were. We did this analysis like 2 budget cycles ago, where we sat down when we were deciding to raise the fee, and Tom had the numbers to say, okay, this is kind of what, from a tax line item, is already included, which is one of the reasons why the number was low, because there was already a chunk of the local tax, town tax, that was accounted for within the transfer station function. But I agree, I think still $30, pretty good deal. We probably need to look at that next budget cycle based on wherever we end up with these new bids and make sure we're very close to whole, or certainly not losing a significant amount of revenue with the transfer station. Anyways, that's where we're at. We have this document, we can make those edits. I have no problem taking a shot at redefining the bid form a little bit and getting some other items in there that we can send around and take a look at. And then the quickest will be where our next meeting is not next Thursday, but it's the Thursday after, which is too long. So, oh no, it is next week. I'm sorry, it is next Thursday.
Oh, yes, it is.
I forgot we're July is 2 days away. So, considering with that, we could, at our next meeting, reissue the bid specifications at that time, and that would be,
Set a special meeting for the end of the.
and then set a special meeting for the end of July. I hate doing it right at the end of the month, since we'd be looking for someone to jump on it in August, so the question would be, we'll probably get these 3 bidders again. They already went through the effort. I think we'll probably get those 3. I think it would be the goal to get as many more off the list that you gave me as possible. So we could consider opening, maybe on Monday the 27th, gives the new person almost a full week to get up to speed, or you could even go back as, maybe the 24th or 23rd, although the 23rd is probably a meeting on that Thursday. But we could do it if we had to, and that would give, a week and a couple days for the new person to be able to get information and get equipment up there.
Would it be not cool to ask the lowest 2 bidders for their certificate of insurance or whatever they're bonded for or whatever? Can you go back and just ask for that?
I don't think so. I think if a bid is deficient, it's deficient. So what we're asking is the 3 bidders that we received, we're sending them a letter that says your bid was deficient because it didn't have the certified copy of the insurance policy
going to do if Casella is unwilling to cover July?
That's where we gotta come up with plan B. I think we're in a position at the town that we are gonna, hopefully they're gonna work with us. I'm cautiously optimistic based on the phone call I had. I think
You'll have the answer to that tomorrow.
yeah, my guess is they're gonna make us an offer to deal with July. So that's something we'll still have to convene and meet about. Correct? Because if it was extending in kind, we're still gonna have to meet and agree upon having Casella stay on.
Can we make a resolution authorizing you to extend the Casella contract by a month?
As long as you allow me to negotiate the price, if it's not the same price, and I'll defer to you, Jim.
Yeah, it's an emergency situation.
Yeah.
So I think, you make a motion authorizing him to enter into a 30-day agreement or 1-month agreement for Casella and to negotiate the price.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That will help. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else on the transfer station contract? And just to recap for Chris and CJ, you know what this is. We had a little discussion about High Hickory Preserve. I went down and met with their executive director this morning just to get a overview of what they're looking to do. High Hickory is off of Richard Road. In the town. It's the road that heads down to Lord's Camp, which has been a preserve there since 1989-ish. And they're looking to add and extend their driveway, add some parking spaces, and a kiosk for educational purposes, as well as, I'll say, some minor maybe wetland mitigation / stormwater prevention measures up on the hillside. That's it. So I know you've had a conversation with him.
Holy crap.
So do you have any questions, Charles? Lake's at the bottom of the page.
It's not on this property's not on the lake. So that's north. That's north.
How was that? Ay, ay, ay.
You ended up going to the meeting they had on site?
They stayed undercover for about an hour. And, I was,
Okay. So that's what they're, basically asked them to keep us in the loop and to have a dialogue with the town, for projects they're working on, and, we'd be happy to.
Who drew up this?
It's not identified. I can take a pretty good guess.
That's just taking notes on it.
That's my writing, yeah.
All right.
Okay, is that all? Motion, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Hey, turn off your microphone.
It is, you could take 1/10 of the money they're going